Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. On Monday's video, I showed you how to make the carrier beads using the odd count peyote stitch. Today, I'm going to show you the carrier beads with the even count peyote stitch. So to do this pattern, I'm going to be using 3 colors of a size 11 Delica. You can get by with 20 inches of thread, but I'm going to use 30, and I'm going to be using a size 12 beading needle. You can use a size 10, but if you use a size 10, be aware that when you go back to get rid of your tails, you could bust some of your beads because it might be kind of tight getting through. Also, I'm going to be using the 1G thread, but you can also use a 4-pound or a 6-pound fire line. I would not go above that. Today, I'm going to be doing a simple striped pattern. So I'm going to be going by the pattern so that way you can see how to read the even count patterns as I do them. I've had a couple of people ask some really great questions. How many beads will you need? Well, honestly, it depends on what you're going to make. But for me personally, I have made 2 separate bracelets, one with the even count and one with the odd count. Now, I tested my patterns. For the odd count, I believe there were 20 patterns. For the even count, I believe maybe there were 18 patterns. And when I did mine, I used almost a whole tube of each color. Now, mind you, if you use more of a dominant color, it may take more beads of that specific color. If it were me and I was purchasing these to do, say, a necklace or even a bracelet with, I would be cautious and go ahead and get 2 tubes of each color. Now, the reason I say 2 tubes is because just like crystals or anything else, seed beads are made in batches, different color batches. So you may get a seed bead one time and order it a second time and it not be the exact same color. Okay, so that's one of the reasons that I just want to kind of forewarn you. If you're one of the people who like to live life on the wild side, one of each color, you're done and good to go. I'm going to show you, some people have said what's the actual size like compared to something like an object, so I'm going to show you that. But also I've had some questions about, can you mix the even and the odd count beads on a project? And absolutely, that is the whole point of doing these different ways, so that you will have a nice round library full of some carrier beads. You can look at this as like your blank canvas and you are the artist. You really get to pick your designs and your colors for these, and every one of them is going to look different. So let's go ahead and get our materials together and let's get started. So this is my even count carrier bead bracelet, and you can see some of the different designs here that I've done, and I also have some extras that I didn't make into the bracelet. The actual size, this is an American dime, and you can kind of see this is the size of the bead and this is the size of it with the strip of peyote on it, so that kind of gives you a good idea of the sizing of it. So I've got my A, my B, and my C, and in today's project you can see A's will be on the outside, B's on the inside, and then C will be in the center. So it's a fairly easy project to start. But to start, I'm going to be starting in the corner over here to the right. So on my bead mat or on my needle, I'm going to thread on an A, a B, 2 C's, a B, and an A. So I'm going to have an A, a B, 2 C's, a B, and an A. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so that you can see a little bit better. Let's see. Whoop. There we go. All right. So you can use this very first bead as a stop bead if you want to, but I just kind of like to keep working. You know, just pull off your beads any day now. That works too. Let's try it again here. Okay, so I'm going to hold these And I'm just going to hold just enough thread that I can actually hold in my fingers. And now, if you'll look, my next row, this is the beads I just picked up. This is row 1, A, B, C, C, B, and A. So I'm going to be working back in the other direction. My next beads that I'm going to add are an A, a C, and a B. Okay, so A, C, B. So I'm going to pick up an A, skip the A, and go through the B. And again, if those two beads don't sit exactly like they're supposed to, then just make them sit their correct way. Okay, then a C. So I'm skipping a C and going through a C. And then a B. Skip a B, go through your A. So that now you have rows 1 and 2. The great thing about this pattern, this specific pattern, is that all the beads are going to run straight up in the row. So that means, like for here, I know I'm going to pick up an A, a C, and a B. And this specific pattern that we're doing, the whole thing all the way up is A, C, B. A, C, B. This is your whole pattern. Just A, C, B. A, C, B. So it's a really, really easy pattern to follow. That's why I wanted to show you this one in the video today. But I'm just going to follow my pattern, pick up my A, come back through the B here. A C, go through the C, a B, and go through the A. And then work back the other direction. A, C, B. Whoop. So that you can see I've got a really good pattern going. Now, just like we did last week, you want to continue until you have 25 A's this way and 25 A's on the bottom. So the top and the bottom, you want 25 A's. Now, I heard from a few of you who have a hard time starting your peyote stitch. So I wanted to show you a different way you can start it using these really neat quick start peyote guides. So I'm going to go ahead. I've got my needle with a new piece of thread on it, and you're going to start with a stop bead. These are really great. These come in different sizes, and I'll show you. This is specifically for a size 11 bead, and these are reusable. You get 3 in a pack, and they're wonderful because of that fact. So leave yourself a tail and come back up through the bead so that this is your stop bead. If you'll notice, you have a hole here, 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 and here. So I'm going to start, and it doesn't matter if you start here or here, completely up to you, but I'm going to come up through this first hole. I'm going to come down through this second hole, and you pull it all the way so that it catches your stop bead. And then I'm going to come up through this first little bullet, I guess you would call it. I don't know really what you would call that shape. But for this, when you're starting your even count, she actually tells you to start at the top of your graph. You're starting at the top left. So I'm going to be picking up my A, my C, and my B. So an A, and I'm going to go right down through the same hole and then up through the next one, just like this. So I've got my A, And what happens is that bead stays inside of your little hole that you've made here. And then the next one is a C. So I'll pick up the C. I'm going to go down through the same hole I'm coming out of and then up through the next little bullet hole here. And then a B. So I've got my B. Same thing. I'm going to go down through the same little bullet hole and then up through the next hole. So actually, when you pull it, you only have 3 beads here. But now we're going to be working back the other direction. And you can see my same pattern. I've got my A, my C, and my B. So I'm picking up an A and I'm coming back through the B here. And well, let me pop all them babies back into place here. I didn't keep it pulled tight. There we go. Okay, so I've got my A and I'm coming back through the B. I have my C and I'm coming back through the C. I gotta pop it back up here. There we go. And then I've got my B and I'm coming out of my A. And then I'm just going to continue following my pattern. This gives you a little something more to hang on to, so you don't, you don't have just this little bit of bead you're trying to hang on to. That's a really, really great thing about these little quick start guides that you've got here. And so for the sake of being able to show you how to take this off, I'm going to continue working my strip until you get those 25 beads on each side. So I've done quite a bit on my strip and I'm ready to take it off of the card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the card, and depending on how tight you put on your stop bead, you can just pull that stop bead off and then use your needle and just pull the thread out from in between those beads. And once you do that, your strip comes right off the card and you continue to work, and then you can reuse your strip over and over again. So that's using the Quick Start Peyote cards to start your strip of peyote. So the first thing you'll want to do is to go ahead and get rid of the tail thread. Once you have your 25 beads on each side, go ahead and get rid of this thread. And I do this simply by taking the needle and stitching through some of the beads. I want to try and use as much of the tail as I possibly can to get rid of it. But you're just simply going to stitch through and get rid of this tail and trim the thread. So I'm going to continue stitching through my beads here and just getting rid of this thread. So now I'm ready to connect the ends to actually go on my carrier bead. I like to use the double-sided tape, or see if you can see it here. Yeah, these are little the squares, the little adhesive squares, and you can take, if you want to, and go ahead and put your little adhesive squares on your bead. And what this will do is this will hold the beadwork on there so that you do not have to slide the beadwork over the bead. You can go ahead and have it centered and on there so that you can see at that point what to do. Now, you do not have to do this. This is just a little tip for you. But you can see that my thread is coming out of the bottom bead here to the right. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come up through the bottom bead on the left. Then I'm going to take my needle, go through the next bead here on the right. Then the next bead on the left. Oops, got my thread caught here. There we go. Then the next bead to the right. Then the next bead to the left. Then the next bead to the right. Now, when I do this, at this point, all of my beads are connected except for these two beads here at the top. So to connect those, I'm just going to come down through this one to the left and then back up through the one to the right. And then it's just going to be a point of stitching this thread through and getting rid of the tails. So once you do that, you can make lots more of them in whatever colors and shapes that you want. And then just like I did on Monday's video, I've used a stretchy cord here to make my bracelet, but you can string it on beading wire and use a 2-strand slide clasp. And there's lots of great tutorials in there online about how to make a necklace with them as well. I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make the even count carrier beads. Just a couple of quick notes. Number one is that we do have the instant download and the printed pattern available for the 18 graph patterns on my website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Now the pattern will show you how to make a basic even count carrier bead, and then you'll have the 18 graph patterns on there as well. Now also, the carrier beads and the Delicas can be found on our website. The Delicas until the 27th of January of 2018. The Delicas will be 15% off on our website as long as you use the coupon code DELICA, DELICA. Also, with the carrier beads, because of the popularity of Monday's video, we did sell out of a couple of colors of those, but we do have more on order. Now, these beads are coming from China, so I could have them in a week, and it may be 3 weeks. I just do not know. But as soon as I get them listed, I will be sure and post it on the website so that everybody will know. One last thing, we do carry these quick start peyotes guides that I showed you today. The one that I showed you today actually will be able to do even and odd count on that for size 11 seed beads. And Deb Moffat Hall, the creator, gives you wonderful directions on the inside cover of how to actually do what I showed you today with starting it. She also has some other really great quick start guides. So this one is for size 8 Delicas, and it tells you here that for size 8 cylinder beads. So this one's a 3-pack and is reusable. This is for regular size 8 seed beads. It's a 3-pack and it is reusable. And then this is for tubular peyote. This is for size 11 seed beads, but now the important thing to know is this is not reusable. This is like a one-time use one. But we do have all of these available on my website, and again, that is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned all about carrier beads now, and I promise we are on to something new next time. So have a great one, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.